Yo, what's up everyone? We are back with another video. Today we are going to be covering another very popular Pokemon, an old school favorite in Tyranitar. Yes, it is in an excellent spot right now in Regulation H. And now that Urshifu is banned, T-Tar can come back out to play here. So the main selling point of T-Tar is it's super bulky, especially with this Assault Vest, right? And then at the same time, you have the Sandstream, which again also gives you a bonus to your special defense, but at the same time also is able to change weather. And like we said in our previous videos, all four weather are viable in this format here. You got some good coverage here with Rock Slide and Knockoff here. One single target stab, one spread damage stab, and Rock Slide is strong against some other popular threats right now, for example, like a Volcarona or like an Incineroar, like a Talonflame. Rock Slide is excellent against these things. And of course, all it takes is one flinch to end someone's run in a tournament and send them home packing, right? Knockoff, again, just like Incineroar, has access to this very good move at, removing items, making sure that you weaken the opponent as much as possible. And then also, don't forget with your Sand Chip, all right, they're taking damage every turn, which means you also get to break Focus Sash. You also get to break Dragonite multi-skill, and these are all like really good ideas to, again, vouch for Tyranitar, right? And then after that, you've got low kick pressure here, which is a good fighting coverage move here against something like a Kingambit, four times weak to it. You can click this against Archaludon. Of course, you have to be a little bit careful because you can't one-shot it, but you can do very high considerable damage to it. And of course, with low kick, you're able to pressure other steel types, especially if they also go Tera Steel. And then if you also look at the last move here, Tera Blast, along with the popular Tera choice of Flying, this is now able to do very well against grass types. So like an Amoongus, like a Rillaboom, for example. And Flying is great for some of the resistances for Tyranitar, because again, with Rock Dark typing, you're 4 times weak to fighting. So Flying is now able to resist that. You are also weak to ground, but again, you don't take any ground damage as Flying type because, again, you are flying, so that move will get whiffed. And at the same time, you can deal super effective damage right back to them, right? And also, Tera Blast, Tera Flying, very good against other fighting types, like another Sneasel, for example, here. So, great selling points here with Tyranitar. All around, all of these moves are very good here. And look at the stats here with Tyranitar. We have already spoken about the SPDF that you're getting with the Sand and even the AV over here. But now look at that. Look at the other stats. 100 base HP, 110 defense, 134 attack. Some of the best stat spreads that you can find on a Pokemon like this, especially, since it is a pseudo-legendary 600 base stats. Very good Pokemon here. You can make this relatively bulky, right, with a good amount of EV investments already, and you don't even need that much SPDF here. You probably just need 12, if anything. Could you put a little bit more? Yeah, especially if you're going up against something like a Blood Moon or Saluna, for sure. But even then, as long you can just easily max the HP, and this is already like enough. From here, it's just really all about deciding your speed tier and how much damage do you want to deal. So some common options here. You're either going to go to the 124 benchmark here, which is the second bump in the Tyranitar attack stat, or you may opt for a little bit more damage and instead go to the next bump, the third bump here in, a 204 investment here. And again, if you don't know what EV bumps are and you're trying to get better at competitive Pokemon and you don't understand how this all works, make sure you comment in the video below asking what are EV bumps. I will reply and respond to you, because if you're trying to make complex EV spreads, you have to know what your bumps are, because these are going to be good starting points when you're trying to make a team and trying to test things on ladder relatively quickly, besides the default 252 spread. Okay, we also have a whole video on this explaining what are EV bumps. If you look in every video description, that video is linked explaining, again, what are EV bumps. That is the title of the video, so go ahead and watch that if you haven't done so already. Otherwise, just comment and I will respond to you. Now, from here with Tyranitar, I'm going to put out actually around 6 different spreads here, and it's all really coming down to the threat that you want to outspeed. So the speed tier is going to be most important here, and then from there we can denote how much we want to invest into our attack stat from there, right? And you also probably don't even need max HP for some of these sets, which is again okay, right? It really just depends on you and what kind of team do you have, all right? And the first deciding factor is, do you have tailwind or not? Okay, but at least for the first starting default spread, what if you wanted to go like fast Tyranitar? You can definitely do that. Now, you might say that's a little counterintuitive because, if you have the slower weather setter, that will override the other faster weather setter. That is true, okay? But at the same time, you still want some speed on your Tyranitar just because that base speed 60 tier is relatively common right now. Again, note the Incineroars, note the Pelipper's, for example. These are just 3 examples of base speed 60 Pokemon running around in Regulation H. There are more, obviously, but these are the most obvious ones here. All right, so let me just give you like the standard max speed set here. So again, you're just gonna go max speed here, all right, and then just put 1 point in the defense, and then just a little bit of investment into HP there, right? Because those are your extra EVs. Now, why do I only put 2 points here in Spadef? Because again, I just want a nice little even number here to get the best value I can out of the Sand and the Assault Vest here, because I don't want an odd number like this, all right, because this multiplied by 1.5 will give me a decimal. I don't want decimals to round down my stat. I want to have solid whole numbers, so this way I get the best value with my item here. All right, so you can just easily do something like this. Otherwise, if you want more bulk but a little bit less intact, then this is the other way that you can even consider here, right? So definitely either way, whichever one floats your boat here. But again, the starting point here is just this. Max speed Tyranitar with the 3rd benchmark here for your attacking stat is like a default way to do this. Now, I'm going to show you 5 other spreads that you can definitely consider depending on what you want, okay? And then you can just pick one if you want to run Tyranitar yourself. All right, the next set that I'm going to give you is trying to outspeed the Adamant Sneasler here, assuming that you have Tailwind on your team. So the first thing you have to figure out is, well, what does Adamant Sneasler hit? Remember, again, this is part of your benchmarks. This is part of your homework that you were supposed to do when you watched our tier speed video. So if you did not say 172, you did not do your homework, okay? How do you get past 172, right? Because again, Tyranitar is super, super slow, but you have access to Tailwind, right? So do a little bit of math. What is 172 divided by 2? That's going to be 86. So ideally, you want to try for something like 87, and then from there, that will be able to outspeed this thing. So how do I get to that speed tier? So first of all, you're going to pretty much I'm just going to import this over here and just adjust the EV spreads. Okay, so let's reset. All right, what do I need for 87 here? So I'm just going to bump it up just like this right here. That is all I need. In fact, you could even speed creep a little bit more and just go 1 point more. And that is all you really need, okay? And that will do what you need to do. Now, from here, you have 440 EVs left. You can still do the same thing and just go to 204 attack stat. So this way you can still deal a considerable amount of damage and then just dump the rest here into HP. This is another one of the common EV spreads that you can find on something like Pikalytics. All right, so if you did not know what that did, now you actually know here. All right, so again, under Tailwind, you can outspeed the Adamant Sneasler. Now, what if you wanted to outspeed the Jolly Sneasler? All right, well, then you have to do a little bit more math. Oh, that is not what I wanted to do. Sorry. All right, if you wanted to do the Jolly Sneasler, okay, the same thing. All right, just again, understand its speed stat. If you did not know that it was 190, all right, then you did not do your homework again. But here we are, 189. Obviously, we want the 190 mark to be able to do that. So let me move this over here and let me just adjust this spread here. So now let me reset. Okay, just a little bit here. And now you let's say you wanted to outspeed the Jolly Sneasler. All right, well, let's see if we can do it. So if you do a little bit of math, right, if you have to use your calculator, 190 divided by 2, all right, you're gonna get 95 here. So here we go, 95. Can I reach that here? Yes, I can. Good job, T-Tar. We reached 95 here. But again, I want to outspeed this. How about a little bit more? One more point here. Let's go to 116 here. And after that, then let's see. I could just easily do this, right? Once again, and just dump the rest here into HP. I can easily do that here. Otherwise, maybe I can re-optimize my HP a little bit here. All right, let's say... No, actually, you can actually just leave it like this, right? And if you really wanted to, how about this? Let's make our HP a little bit better. Let's go to the 124 mark, and then from here, put the other 80 EVs here, and now you have a max HP Tyranitar. So still a decent amount of bulk, right? Still a decent amount of speed. 96 speed investment is still pretty good. 96 speed stat. You have 116 speed investment here. This one you have 52. You needed a little bit more, obviously, to outspeed the Jolly Sneasler here, right? So we've got 3 spreads so far. We got a standard fast Tyranitar here. This one will outspeed the Jolly Sneasler under Tailwind. Adamant, this one will outspeed the Jolly one here. Okay, so now we can still give you 3 more spreads, and the big threats are the Blood Moons and the regular Ursalunas. All right, so here we are, the Blood Moon Ursaluna. So some of these will definitely go max speed, especially if they are on those hyper offensive teams. Sometimes they may go Assault Vest and also still be max speed here. The point is, Modest Nature max speed, they'll go to 104, right? Unfortunately, if they go Timid, you cannot outspeed them because your Tyranitar will almost always be Adamant there. So you're out of luck there, but at least with the modest ones, you can still outspeed there. So if I need to beat 104, then obviously I need 105 on my Tyranitar, and thankfully I can reach that. So once again, I'm going to do a little bit of math, and I'm going to move the slider bar until I reach that 105 benchmark here. So let me reset some EVs here. Okay, and let's go to 105 to outspeed the Blood Moon here. So this is a lot of speed investment, but again, it's still pretty common. And once again, you can do the same thing. You can just invest all the way up to here for your attacking stat, and then at the same time here, you can dump the rest into your bulk stat if that works out for you here. Otherwise, you can go back down 1 tier into the attack and then just go a little bit more into your HP stat, and you can definitely also do something like this. Otherwise, if you still just want to maximize your damage here, then what I just showed you earlier, this is more than enough here, right? So 105 mark, right? 188 EVs into speed, still hitting 204, and then dumping the rest into your HP, because that is what is left over after you put 1 point in defense and the 2 points in the special defense. All right, the physical one. So a lot of these Ursalunas, they're going to be also relatively fast, especially when they're on those Pelipper, Sinistcha, Archaludon teams, you know, that have Tailwind support. Sometimes they'll also have Dragonite there with Tailwind support, but these are always going to be like relatively fast bears. If they are hitting 102, then again, we still want our Tyranitar to be able to outspeed this, right? So a little bit of math. Once again, all you really need is just this, right? 103, that'll outspeed 102, right? And then after this, you still have 320 EVs left to play with. So it's, again, still very similar to this, right? So what you can even do with this one, if you want to, like, again, a little bit more bulk, you can still do this and then just, you know, dump the rest here into HP, and that still also works. Otherwise, again, we've still been like relatively consistent with our 204. This one, we did a little bit more HP investment. This one is relatively bulky. This one I use the most, but again, there is still like some value out of like faster Tyranitar stuff. The last one here that we're going to do is Garchomp. So with Chomp, again, with max speed, Jolly Nature, the Chomp will hit 169 here, right? So you need 170, which means under Tailwind, you just need 85. So this one, you need the least amount of speed investments, which means more EVs to put into your bulk elsewhere. Again, if you have that Tailwind support here, right? But with Tyranitar, again, let me just do the EVs real quick. So that's all you need, 28 EVs, right? After that, you can go back to Adamant Nature, and then under Tailwind, you outspeed Chomp already. So this way, you can outspeed it, go first, and not have to take a ground type attack. But same thing, you can just do this and go to 204, attack yet again, right? You have a little bit more EVs now, so you can definitely go 204, and then you can just literally dump the rest into HP like this. Now you have 1 point of EVs left here. You can easily just do this and just go for like speed creeping purposes, or you can just put a little bit more bulk into your defense, and now you have an even split between your defense and your special defense there, right? And of course, it's still the same set here. So yeah, again, Rock Slide, Knockoff, Tera Blast with Tera Flying, and of course the low kick stuff, right? So that's it. You know, these are very easy, basic Tyranitar EV spreads here. In fact, I've already like pre-made it on the side over here for you, so you can definitely do something like this, and I've labeled it for you. So now what you could do is, again, I'm gonna put all of this in the video description. You can pick one that you want, but at least now you understand what are like some of the common threats you want to outspeed. So it's usually just the big ground types and the dominant fighting type right now. So the bears, right? The Ursalunas, the Sneaslers, and of course the Garchomp. Those are the common threats you want to be able to outspeed. Before we continue forward with the teams here, I did make this announcement earlier as a post on the channel, but remember, we are now part of the Amazon Influencers Program. What that means is now we have our own affiliate link, just like with Razer. So if you use our link, we are able to earn commission on things you purchase there. So if you click this, right, that will bring you to just a regular standard Amazon page, just like this, right? And then you can buy literally anything you want, anything, right? And then we earn commission on the channel when you are able to buy certain things, right? Actually, anything. So then after that, what you can also do is, if you look back on our post, we also have our own personal storefront here. So I'm just going to click that here. Here it is. This is the Clover Bells storefront here. And here we list items of our own, right? And you can also purchase these via Amazon. And it's just Pokemon and Nintendo Switch essentials, right? So look at this, the chargers, the controllers that you can have, Legend ZA if you haven't bought that already. So you can pre-order that as well. So if you're interested in this stuff, you can definitely look into that. But otherwise, just use our affiliate link. And if there is something that you're interested in buying on Amazon, just go ahead and do so with our link. And then we earn a small commission. And again, it's just further support for me and the channel. And of course, we couldn't have gotten here without you guys. So we thank you very much for your support over the years. All right, but now we're back into Tyranitar team building. All right, so now we can go into actual team building here. I'm just going to pick one of the Tyranitar sets I gave you. We'll go with the 116 investment one. And again, with this investment here, under Tailwind, you can outspeed a Jolly Sneezer, right? And now I guess I can show you the Clover 6. So some of you have noticed that I have a new graphic 6 at the bottom of the screen. And this is just something that I've been using on the side as of late. And I think it's a really, really cool team. Again, you have the Talonflame, the Garchomp and Goldengo combo. So let me just slap on those real quick here. And this is always like a very, very solid core in a non-restricted format here. Where's Goldengo? There you are. Then you get a little bit of balance here with the Amoongus. Again, redirect to support. It'll give you a Trick Room matchup. And then finally, just as like a way of deterring Intimidate support, then this is where we add the Milotic here. A little bit more of a niche, unique water type here. I first saw this team last year. I think it was a couple of French players that were bringing it into a regional. Did very well in day 2 there. So it fits my kind of play style. So I was just using this. And, you know, of course, with my own EV spreads over here. So with my Milotic here, you can pressure Incineroars here, right? And then at the same time, you also get speed control on your end. So you also have Icy Wind support. And then at the same time, you also get Haze here, which means you don't need to put Clear Smog on your Amoongus here. And my Milotic can also be relatively bulky here. So that's exactly what we're going for here. And we can also still dish out some damage, right? Base 100 special attack. Not amazing, but not like chopped liver. Still can do decent chip damage. And can probably even sweep if it does get that nice little competitive route that we are going to give you. So I'm going to give you 2 balanced Tyranitar teams with a competitive Pokemon here. The first variant here is with Milotic, which is the ones that we've been using. And then there's another one with Kilowattrel and an Amoongus backbone there. All right, so let's use this first one. All right, so with Talonflame, I'm just going to keep it relatively standard here. Look, Tailwind, Will-O-Wisp, and Taunt. Excellent support set with Talonflame, one of the best ones right now. And then I like, you know, this is dependent on the player. You know, if you got Brave Bird here, that's fine. But I like dual Wing Beat. I understand there is a chance to miss, but this actually bypasses Sash, which is actually pretty important there. So to each their own. I was using dual Wing Beat, but if you like Brave Bird for a little bit more extra damage and whatnot, and then you can definitely just go for that. But with Recoil, again, that kind of just takes away Gale Wings there. At least with dual Wing Beat, I can keep my Gale Wings, assuming my opponent doesn't touch me. So for that reason, I went with dual Wing Beat. Covert Cloak, again, this will help you get around the fake out stuff. You can also go Tera Ghost here. Now, one common question that people have asked in the past is, why would you go Tera Ghost and Covert Cloak at the same time? Isn't that a little bit, you know, redundant where you're just trying to avoid fake out? The answer is no. With the Tera Ghost, you're actually trying to avoid extreme speed, okay? So it's more of a Dragonite avoidance, right? And also other moves that want to go into the Talonflame in general with the priority stuff. But most importantly, it is the Dragonite extreme speed idea, right? So then from here, where are we going? We're going to go Garchomp. I like Rough Skin here. You can go with the Sandveil stuff with Tyranitar if you really want to. But to me, Rough Skin is just a little bit more consistent, right? A little bit more chip damage. That can go a long way. That can win you a game, right? Because you could pick up a key KO with the Rough Skin there. And then that you can just win from there, right? So right here, your 2 ground stab moves here. All right, your spread ground move here and your single target ground move here, right? So again, if they have wide guard support, this is where you click your single target ground move here. I like Steel, you know, just again, trying to avoid the ice weaknesses, especially something like Baxcalibur for that matter. Where's the seal? Yeah, there we are. You know, clicking ice shards and whatever. The Ninetales is also annoying there. If you want Terragraph for a little bit more damage, you can definitely do that, or even fire to avoid getting Will-O-Wisp. I like steel, to each their own. Here, because I've got the Life Orb on the Chomp, I still want an offensive item on the Goldengo. I'm just going to go Metal Coat here and just have a little bit more of a harder hitting Make It Rain, right? Shadow Ball, Nasty Plot, and Protect. You have the space here with the Amoongus to try and set this up here. Otherwise, you have instant offense, which is Tailwind, Click, Make It Rain. You don't, you know, with the 1.2 boost, you could even take out quite a few Pokemon there when you put them in range after, you know, Garchomp Tyranitar has been done with them. All right, with the Amoongus here, so I like Berry. You can use berries again, right? Because no more Calyxes, of course. Rage Powder, that's Rage. Pollen Puff, Spore, Protect, right? Terra Water, really useful against another Goldengo, especially. And then my low tick here, I like Dragon. Again, able to resist the Grass weakness and the Electric weakness altogether here. Goggles also helps you get around the Amoongus shenanigans there, and it also helps against your own Tyranitar chip damage here, right? So you can even lead Milotic Tyranitar, switch out, and just bring something else into the T-Tar slot, you know, after it got intimidated, bring something else in, remove the Intimidator, and then Tyranitar can come in the late game once Intimidate is off the board here. Listen, Scald is an extremely underrated move here, and we are playing the casino format, man. And if we're gonna play the casino format, listen, 30% chance. I like my chances with 30%. I can get off that Keyborn, and again, that can win me the game if I'm able to do that there, right? So this is it. This is the easy basic 6 here. Let's round out the EV sets here. Again, I'm just gonna go basic Jolly 252 set here on the Talonflame. In fact, I'm just going to do 1 point in each of the bulk stats here. This is all I need out of Talonflame. Chomp, same thing. You can optimize for a Life Orb chip. It's not worth it, in my opinion. In this case, you're just losing way too much damage, right? This is like, what is this? 6 EVs invested there. Like, that's kind of a lot there. Because, you know, once you do this, okay, like, this is fine. I've used this before in the past. But like, that's a decent amount of chip damage there, right? So I wanted to just do this. I was just testing this for now, right? And you know, if you want to re-optimize it, you can definitely do that for Life Orb. But you know, when I was playing stuff on ladder, this is what I was starting with here. Same thing here with Goldengo. I didn't want to make this too complicated when I was first using this, and I just simply went 252 here. Can you put some bulk on this thing? Absolutely. You can even go a modest set like this, where you can go 132 investment to the bump here, right? Put 1 point in the bulk stat. Let's see. Let's go about 220 here. Yeah, something like this. And you can even just dump the rest here into your speed stat if you really want to, right? So this is another slower, bulkier set that you can do if you wanted to. But, oh, I also forgot the Tera. This Goldengo, by the way, was Tera Flying. This way, a little bit of synergy with Garchomp here. Just in case, you know, if you led Talonflame Garchomp, you click Tailwind Earthquake, they got rid of the Talonflame, for example, but then you bring in Goldengo, you go Tera Flying, now you have Make It Rain and Earthquake combinations there, and that's really what we're looking for here. So if you want the slower modest set, you can definitely do that, but I was using a 252 Timid set here because it was working, right? I saw no need to change it at the time. I had most games the faster Goldengo, and if I didn't, it's because I was speed time. But having the faster Goldengo was really, really clutch on a lot of games. Games I would not have won if I was not the faster one. This thing, we can go Relaxed Nature here now. Normally we go to 219 here just to, again, optimize for the Regenerator recovery, perfect 73 HP, and also final Gambit range you put yourself out of. But with the Berry here, just go 1 more point, go to 220. Nice solid even number there. And then still hit the second bump there in defense and dumping the rest into Spadef. Just a relatively bulky mushroom that you can just easily start out with. All right, this one here with Milotic. So I still wanted to do some damage with Milotic, so I still went modest and still went to the first benchmark here, which was like, okay. And then after this, you know, with the speed tier, I just chose about 60 investment here. Like, this was already like pretty good here because again, with the 109, this is like, you know, after Tailwind, this is also faster than +1 Scale Shot Dragonite there, right? Because Dragonite will hit 218 if it is a Jolly set, right? So I wanted to be able to hit that. You know, 109 under Tailwind will hit 218. 218 is faster than 217. So that was my reasoning there. This is also faster than, you know, the the modest Blood Moons at the same time with extra EVs, of course. But Milo doesn't really need a whole lot of speed to do relatively well here. Just needs to be bulky, right? So what did I do here? I went right here to about 192 here, right? So you can go 191 to optimize for Sandship, but you have the goggles anyway. So I went to 172 here, and then I literally dumped the rest into my defense there. And that was really it. I just wanted a very physically bulky Milotic that can still deal some damage, which is why I did Modest Nature here. And that's all you need. You can live Grassy Glide Rillabooms as well with something like this, especially if they're Assault Vest, where they're not getting the extra damage from the Miracle Seed. Not too many Rillabooms are using that. All right, but that's it. This is like a very easy general team that I was able to slap on and create and just use right away on ladder, right? So you got speed control here, you know, with Tailwind and Icy Wind. You got a Trick Room matchup, okay? You've got setup here with Nasty Plot Goldengo. You have weather control with Tyranitar. You have a Psyspam matchup with Tyranitar especially, okay? You have haze support, which is nice. You have ground coverage with Chomp, and you know, you still have also technically a Fire Water Grassco with Talonflame, Milotic, and the Amoongus over here, right? So, you know, you have a lot here, okay? And that's good because you want multiple options for different matchups here. And the real way to get that is to build in a rather balanced way here. So let me show you a couple battles with this, and then we'll build the second competitive balance idea with Tyranitar. All right, we got a Weezing Slacking team with a Tailwind user with Garchomp Goldengo of their own, another Intimidate user there. I think they're very much limiting their team with something like Weezing Slacking there, right? So I'm still okay with what we got here. In my opinion, I think something like the Milotic could do relatively well here, right? Because again, especially if he has the Tauros there, he doesn't want to give me competitive. I have Icy Wind pressure for the Garchomp and the Kilowattrel. I can burn, you know, some of these threats here as well. So Milo looks pretty good here. And then at the same time, I still like Tyranitar to pressure the Goldengo and even the Kilowattrel to break Sash. I probably need to commit the Tera Flying to it so this way Garchomp can't beat me. But overall, I think I like what I got here. So I'm going to go with Talonflame first to get nice little speed advantage here. I also have Taunt Pressure if he does bring the Weezing, which he did, right? So I'm going to taunt the Weezing so he doesn't do nonsense here. He actually switches out into the Kilowattrel here, right? I'm just going to Scald this thing, right? Decent chip damage, right? And he tried to taunt me too there, right? So I have Tailwind here. His Weezing can't do that, so I can just go Scald, right? And I beat the Kilowattrel, no Tailwind for him, right? So easy removal here. It goes into Tauros. Now, I don't get to have competitive here, obviously, right? It's because of the Weezing support there, right? So there we go. Scald again, which is fine. We're doing decent chip damage there. Wave Crash. Thank you, Burn. Right, so we're able to survive there, and the Tauros is not hitting as hard as it needs to, which is good for us, right? So there's the Aqua Jet. Does pick up the Talonflame. Otherwise, I was going for the dual Wing Beat, and then Scald just went into the Tauros. I just wanted to guarantee just in case it did not KO there, or if he switched out there. More Poison Chip, but I've got one turn of Tailwind left. I do go into T-Tar now, and I go Tera Flying here. Now, he does get this Read Wide. I was going to target the Weezing there. Because the Tauros is hitting like a wet noodle right now. You know, he is burned and whatnot, so I'm okay. Does go for the CC and does pick up the Milo from this range, but he does leave the Tyranitar untouched. And now I can just go into the Chomp here and kind of just clean up from here, right? I'm the fastest thing on the board. It just goes for Earthquake. We hit super hard, right? And then we just finish things up with T-Tar. We are faster than this Weezing. I did know that earlier. And now that's pretty much it. All he has left is just a Slacking. And he can't really do much with that without a Weezing. So he just forfeits. All right, we got almost a hard Trick Room here, which I think he's just making worse by using what is probably an EV-like Duskull there. At that point, why not Dusclops? But even then, I feel like there's other options that you can do there. So into the Armrouge, Torkoal, or Saluna, of course, decent core. Sinisha also not bad either. Why he's got the Duskull there, I couldn't tell you. But something like Tyranitar looks pretty good here, right? Because again, you're not going to take Expanding Force damage. You have weather control, and you have super effective damage against pretty much everything on this team. So as long as you position your T-Tar correctly, I think it's okay. Amoongus can also do well on teams like this. And, you know, you almost force him to go Terra Grass, which again is food for Tyranitar later on there. So I'm going to go with T-Tar, and I'm going to go with Garchomp here. Let's see what he leads here. It's going to be Indeedee and good old classic Armrouge here, right? But I'm not going to Tera immediately because I like Tyranitar staying as the dark type. So he's going to go Tera Grass here. No choice there. So good Tera there with the Stomping Tantrum resist there. Probably poor play by me. Okay, but Rock Slide not bad. I've tried to go for Flinch. It's Meteor Beam. Maybe he thought I was going to go with Tera Flying and just click Earthquake, but I had news for him, right? So now Tyranitar still looking pretty good here. I'm just going to go into Amoongus. I'm surprised he did this kind of play where he just went with Expanding Force there because that doesn't do any damage to T-Tar there. I would have just, you know, did a lot of damage into both Indeedee armors. But the key was I did not want to KO him because that means he gets the free switch into the Torkoal, and I don't want him to do that. So I was willing to at least switch out and stall it out until the Trick Room is gone, and then I could, you know, plan from there, right? So now I go for the kill, right? There's 2 turns of Trick Room left. Now he goes into Ursaluna. This is fine, right? I'm just going to go Tera Flying now. He has to protect. He's not going to do enough damage, right? I can just get rid of the Indeedee now, which is fine. Okay, and if I have to, I can protect Garchomp with the final turn of Trick Room, and we should be fine. And now at this point, I don't really need, I just need to reswitch, right? Because here comes Torkoal. I want the end game with Tyranitar having the weather, so I'm going to give him the Goldengo. You can have him at this point, it doesn't matter, right? I just need to free switch back into my Tyranitar because Trick Room is over, and I will have weather control against the Torkoal stuff, right? And I have Earthquake Pressure. So here we go. Tyranitar, Garchomp back on the field yet again. This is how we started the game. Earthquake, good damage. Torkoal does live, okay, which is fine, right? But now we just click a low kick Ursaluna, and now he just dies here, right? Heat Wave from Torkoal does crit my T-Tar, but again, with the AV and the sand, we're able to stay alive there. He burns my Chomp, but again, this is still okay. And he has no choice but to also forfeit there. So, you know, we stalled out the TR turns. You know, he tried to make a read, thinking I would go Tera Flying and then just click Earthquake. And he tried to go with the Meteor Beam set there. That's fine. This is why I didn't want a Tyranitar to Terastallize immediately. Right? I just wanted to see what he would do. He was forced to go Tera Grass there. And I felt like that kind of hurt him later on. But because of us being able to stall out the Trick Room turns, we were okay, right? And you saw how I just gave him the Goldengo for free because I didn't need it anymore. I'd rather him give me the free switch where I can reset the weather and, you know, have that end game spot. Okay, we've got a Doug team here with the D-Knight, the Ursaluna, the Goldengo here. He's got fake outs for days for the Sneasler, Rillaboom, the Smeargle. God knows what he can do, but this is also a game where Goldengo looks strong, right? Especially against his own Goldengo. And I can literally just bring Talonflame, click Tailwind, and be able to outspeed him. I'm looking at his options. The only thing he's got is his own Tailwind D-Knight, but we should have the faster options anyway, because again, we do have a Garchomp on our side. Okay, it's just a Skill Shot D-Knight that we have to worry about here. So Talonflame Goldengo is the lead. He's going to go with Dragonite. He's going to go with Sneasler here. Could be Fake Out, could be Coaching. Either way, that's the wrong play because this is why you have Covert Cloak, right? So Tailwind looks good. Make it rain. I just want to break multi-skill on the D-Knight. You know, deals super effective, not super effective, deals chip damage on Sneasler. Goes into Ursaluna, that is fine. I figured he might do that because now what I can do is I can remove the Sneasler and then create the space and go for the Nasty Plot because I know that Dragonite can't hit me. Okay, now he does this. He goes Terra Steel here. Good play by him. I just wanted to burn the D-Knight and make it useless. Also, shame on me for not tearing the Goldengo there. I thought that would kill the Ursaluna. I was wrong. Okay, there we go. Scale Shot does not even pick up the Talonflame there. So it's hitting like a wet noodle here. And this is my fault. Again, the Goldengo does not pick up on the Ursaluna. So there it is, right? +1, make it rain from that range. Not enough there. And that's fine because now we can go into Chomp. This is where I should have Terra'd because I forgot he was +1 speed here. And now I'm taking a little bit more damage than I want. Otherwise, if I was Tera Steel Garchomp, this would have been A-okay because I would have soaked all of this up. But look how much damage he's dealing into me. This is, again, mistake number 2 that I was doing. But again, Garchomp is still able to remove the D-Knight here with the Earthquake play. All right, so all in all, still fine. He does have a Rillaboom here that can come back in. The Ursaluna is relatively low. I still did not Tera here. I just want to protect Chomp, get a little bit more recovery. He goes for the Fake Out on this Talonflame anyway. Probably would have lived that. That was a crit, okay? And if I live, you know, Duin Beat just does so much into Rillaboom there. But I've still got T-Tar here. This is where I have to Tera. and I had no choice here, right? There's the Protect Ursaluna, which is, again, all right. He has no choice but to click Grassy Glide. Rough Skin helps me actually win this game because Tera Blast did not pick up. The Rillaboom lives, but Sandchip is looking good. Does get his own recovery. All right, but I just have to outspeed the Ursaluna. So there's the Wood Hammer. You know, Sand will win now. Now I just low kick the Ursaluna, and now we just win. We outspeed because I know we're faster. And now the Sand is able to beat the Rillaboom after that. So some mistakes in the middle of the game, but overall we still had enough to clean things up there. Okay, the second kind of competitive balancing that you can do here. So I've kept 4 of the options the same here. The only thing that I did do with the teter is I just made it a little bit faster. I went to 106 here, but I still kept the 204 attacking stat. But still, we'll keep competitive on the team. We can add the Kilowattrel now. And again, another flying type with decent synergy with the Garchomp here. And then after this, I just think Incineroar is just really, really good, right? So you still have this defensive backbone with Incineroar Amoongus, right? Fake out pressure here, so you have space to set up the Gholdengo if you want. And then, you know, after this, you know, just very, very easy stuff here. So with the Incin, Goggles, again, just to help against your own Sand. Fake out, Flare Blitz, Knock Off, and Parting Shot here. And we can just go Terra Ghost here. Keep it easy. And then the Kilowattrel, this will be a Sand idea here with the Sash. Now, with Sand, you do break your own Sash, which is unfortunate, but at the same time, you know, it's still good, especially if you have your Tailwind support here. So you can go Air Slash, that's Air Cutter, Tailwind, Air Slash, okay? And then from here, you have a couple options here. So you could go Volt Switch, or you can go Electro Web, and then this last move here is up to you here. But you can definitely go Protect, and then this last move here, Electro Web, Volt Switch, Thunderbolt. Either way is like okay. If you want a little bit more spread damage, again, you can go with Electro Web here, right? So same way that Milotic was giving you Icy Wind, we can go Electro Web on the Kilowattrel and then have a single target Air Slash here. And then this can just be simply a timid 252-252 set and just call it a day. And with the Incin, what we can do here is, again, I'm still like using Adamant Fast Incin here. So Adamant 36 is pretty decent. You can go just about this much here, right? And this is where you have to also like, oh wait, hold on. My Tyranitar is like, you know, 106 and whatnot, but this is still like, okay, again, well, here's the 109 mark. And then you can just put 1 point in the bulk stats and then just dumping the rest into HP, and that's it. Right, so it's a relatively fast Incin, not as bulky, but again, we're a little bit more offensive because we have Tailwind support here. Not really a defensive kind of team here. We have a little bit more offense than normal. Again, this is also just Terra Ghost here. And this will be water, that's fine, that's Ghost. We can keep the Gholdengo as flying. I think flying Gholdengo is still very, very strong. Otherwise, you can also go Terra Water if you want. But this is the second idea with the flying variant here. I'm sorry, the balanced competitive variant. All right, we'll just do a quick showcase of this one here. So he's got pretty much Sneasler D-Knight balance, very standard team. Rillaboom, Gambit, Electabuzz, one of the premier teams that you'll be running to, especially if you're going into Pittsburgh here. I like Chomp here. Again, look at how well Chomp and Tyranitar looks into this, right? Because Gambit, Sneasler, very weak to ground. Same thing with Electabuzz there. Hard to bring all three. And then with Tyranitar, rock damage into D-Knight and Volcarona. This is why Tyranitar looks strong. And then at the same time, you've got Sand to break Sash and break Multiscale here. So we're kind of cooking here. And all we really have to do is just try and outspeed a lot of his threats here. And that's exactly what we did here. So here is Chomp, here is Tyranitar. I want to set the weather right now, and I want to see if he can lead ground weak. So he does. Sneasler, Gambit, very ground weak here. Flying T-Tar goes into the fake out into the Chomp there, right? He does get a flinch there. That's fine. There's the low kick, and we remove it immediately, right? So that was kind of fun, okay? And this one, at this point, when I was testing, it was Sandveil. It was the wrong ability. Otherwise, I would have just went with Rough Skin there, right? And again, same thing here. There's no chip damage there, but he does go for Dire Claw. Poison is fine. You know, I'm okay with that. This is good damage into Rillaboom here. And again, a little bit more Sand Chip. But we're still fine. Now, I want to save T-Tar a little bit, so I'm just going to go into Incin now. Now that the Gambit is gone, now you can bring Incineroar and Intimidate these guys, right? So you can still bring Intimidate into the Defiant stuff. You just have to keep it in the bag and remove it first. Then Intimidate goes crazy, right? Because now Rillaboom is stuck here at -1 and it's almost dead from all this sand chip, right? So Rillaboom's not looking great here. We can fake out into Volcarona right now and then just remove the Rillaboom and just overwhelm the Volcarona with the rest of our support here, right? So Grassy Glide comes out. Again, not enough there. Just Dragon Claw the Rillaboom and that's it. So now it's basically a 4-on-1 and Volcarona does have the ability to set up here. There's the Fairy. He does catch me a little bit, but again, you know, Heat Wave, not enough damage. Incin just soaks that up. He doesn't have a single Quiver Dance. Look how strong Flare Blitz is, especially if it's Adamant, right? That's a 2-hit KO there, more than that. And he doesn't really have enough to beat the Incin, so he has no choice but to click the forfeit button there. So this one was like a really, really good showcase of Chomp here because he brought a lot. He brought 2 ground weeks, right? And then even Volcarona was weak to Blast and Rock Slide. And then once you remove the Gambit, look, you can just Intimidate cycle, Rillaboom, Sneasel, and D-Knight for days. The Electabuzz doesn't really do a whole lot, you know, especially when we have stuff like Garchomp on this idea here. And even with Incin, we can just remove the Violet with Knockoff and just go from there. A lot of people are trying to use the Joe Ugarte Sand that was very, very strong in the recent Victory Road performance this past weekend here. And we'll recreate some basic spreads here for Joe's team here. But the key idea was these 5 here, right? Because these 5 we've seen before last year in a few regionals. The main difference here was that Joe added the Annihilape on this. And it makes a difference, right? Because I've seen some other Pokemon here. I've seen Volcarona, for example. And then there's a couple of other options that I can't remember off the top of my head. But the point is, this core of Indeedee Sneasel will always be like relatively solid here, right? You're going to have the Psychic Seeds with the terrain advantage with the Indeedee, right? That gives you the advantage with Unburden. You don't even need Tailwind anymore because this is already just going to activate your speed anyway, right? Then you introduce the Choice Scarf Expanding Force concept here. So you can outspeed everything already with Expanding Force. But you also have Trick here, and that is a difference maker, right? Because you can trick a certain item away from an opponent, and then you can click Protect again, obviously, you know, assuming it's not another choice item or it's not like Assault Vest or whatnot. But you can also, and some people forget this, you can also trick your own Pokemon, right? And then make your own option outspeed a certain threat. And then you can pick up a KO that way in essence, right? So some people forget that, but you can trick your own Mon. And Trick with the Choice Scarf is very good against, you know, like setup options or fake out pressure, whatnot, or even things that want, you know, clicking Trick Room. Corviknight is amazing this format as well. It just kind of sits in front of Sneasel and laughs, right? You know, of course, the Intimidate is not going to work on Corviknight. You know, you got bulk up pressure for days. Brave Bird's going to hit like a truck. You've got Roost Recovery to help you get back all that HP that you're going to be losing with Brave Bird. You also have your own Tailwind support that Corviknight can give you. And then, of course, you got T-Tar Excadrill stuff. Excadrill can actually come out and play in this format here. So, you know, with Earthquake pressure next to Tera Flying Tyranitar, very, very strong. And you also have your own weather kind of team, right? Because, again, with Excadrill Sand Rush, you outspeed everything as well. And, you know, with this kind of fast speed, you can just go Adamant here and it's going to hit very, very hard. Now, of course, you are prone to Intimidate with these guys, but this is why you have said Annihilape and said Corviknight here. Now, this Annihilape set is actually a little bit of an interesting set. It makes sense, of course. First of all, Goggles has always been good on Ape, and it makes sense even more here because of the sand from the Tyranitar. Then you've got Rage Fist and Close Combat here. So, again, decent amount of chip damage here, right? And, of course, Rage Fist, if people even want to touch the Ape, then it's just going to make this do more damage. But you also have Taunt and Final Gambit here. And the idea with these like Scarf Gambits or Scarf Apes here, they're always going to be relatively max speed here. And then they have the option to just go for Final Gambit into a lot of the base 100s. So imagine, for example, Kingambit or even something like Rillaboom, right? So you only need about, what is that, like 208 or here, right? Something like this. And then they just dump the rest into attack, okay? That's all you really need. You just need to nuke something with that Final Gambit, those base 100s, and then that's it. These are just like leftover EVs. After this, you know, you can just kind of go relatively basic here with 252, 252 here, and just kind of really call it a day. The Tyranitar, you can do what you want with this T-Tar, especially. we can make it a little bit faster too. So why not? Let's go 109, right? So this way under tailwind you outspeed a +1 skill shot Dragapult, and then you can go 204 attack here, and then just have a little bit of investment with 68 HP there, right? So not too bad. Still a very, very fast Tetar. Sneasler here, again, this is definitely going to be like adamant nature. The Indeedee here, because you have the Scarf, you can also go modest, right? So you can also hit relatively harder, and then just go from there. And then the Corviknight here, ideally, you just need some speed, but not a whole lot. Again, 67 speed, again, faster than another Tetar, can be faster than most Incins, right? Actually, all of them, depending on how much investment they want to put here. But even with this Corviknight, we want to rely on our bulk here. Let's go about, I think 68 is enough, right? So this way, we're hitting that 96 tier that we talked about that you want to hit with Tyranitar. This under Tailwind will outspeed the Jolly Sneasler. Then we can go to, well, here's the first bump. So another 80 EVs, right? Well, let's go to attack, 100. This is the second benchmark here. Right, and then now we have 240 EVs left to play with. So when I was testing things out, I noticed like, more Incineroars were going like Adamant Nature, and even more than 36 Adamant. They were even going like 116. So this much investment is already like good enough. So 220 HP and then right about 84 defense. This is enough to live the Adamant Flare Blitz, Adamant 116 Flare Blitz Incineroar. Then you just dump the rest here into Spadef there. And that's all you want from Corviknight here. Terra Dragon's really solid. Resist fire damage altogether. Also resist electric damage too. The ape here we already discussed. And that's pretty much it. This is like an easy team that you can also jump with on ladder as well. So we gave you our little variation of Joe Sand here. We didn't change any of the moves or any of the movesets or the items or the terrace. All we did was just slap on some basic EVs here, right? So like you could see the Tetar, or I'm sorry, the Excadrill, Sneasler, and Indeedee. These are just your 252, 252 sets. The other three are Pokemon that we decided to put some EVs into. Okay, so let's try this out for a couple games, and then we'll move on to another variant. All right, this is very, very standard Psyspam. This is as standard of a hard Trick Room Psyspam team as it gets. So once again, Tyranitar looks very, very good here as long as you position it properly. The one thing you have to be aware of is Gallade if they do decide to bring it here. So I'm going to make note here, like again, even if they set up Trick Room, give it to them, right? But you can still stall it out. Just don't try and pick up the KOs there because, again, those are just like free switches into the Torkoal and Ursaluna, right? Now, you can also definitely try for the trick shenanigans there, but in this kind of case, I think just building around Tyranitar just makes sense here. So I'm going to go with Excadrill Tetar, right? There's Indeedee, and there is the Hatterene here. So I have some pretty decent pressure here. Right, I have Knockoff, I have Iron Head here, but I'm just going to go into Corviknight and click Earthquake here, right? So there's the Follow Me. This is fine. Decent chip damage. If he wants to Trick Room, he can have the Trick Room, right? So there it is. Now, what does surprise me here is I'm going to protect Excadrill here. I was going for Bulk Up on the Corviknight. He actually has the Fire Tech on the Hatterene. It does one-shot me, but that's because he does have the crit there. So that was a little unfortunate, right? Because I don't think that was going to necessarily pick up there. But now we go into Sneasler. Thank you for the Spadef boost here. But I'm going to go back into Tetar, and I'm just going to protect Sneasler, right? So just in case if he thinks he can just go with the Expanding Force yet again, once again, that doesn't do anything. So we've stalled out more turns of Trick Room. He's down to 2 turns left, right? I'm going to go back into Excadrill here, and Exa is just going to have to tank it here, right? There's the E-Force. That's okay, right? Because I can still protect the next turn. Now I click Rock Slide. I could have picked up both, but unfortunately, only the Indeedee drops because the Hatterene, I missed the Rock Slide, right? So here comes Gallade. This is what we expected. Now we go Tera Flying. We just have to protect Excadrill. All right, there's the Wide Guard. I'm not sure what he was thinking I was going to do. Maybe he thought I was going to click Earthquake or whatnot or Rock Slide again. But now we just blast through here. I don't think there was any need to click Wide Guard. You had the advantage in Trick Room. All right, now he just goes into Ursaluna instead, right? So we didn't want to give him the switch. He does go for Tera Ghost, right? Which is the only Tera he could possibly go to. He whiffs my low kick there, but again, it doesn't matter. I still have the pin no matter what, okay? Because now we go into the Sneasler, right? There's no more Trick Room. We have Dark moves, right? There's the Throat Chop. That does a lot. And then finally, we have our own Knockoff, and that's all we need out of the Ursaluna, and then that's how we win there. So again, we stalled the Trick Room turns. We didn't give him the free KOs immediately where he could go into his sweepers, right? And we alternated our protects. We pivot one slot, we protect the other slot, and then that's how we stalled it out. This was interesting because, again, he also has a sand team here with Kilowattrel and Amoongus. He's got that Fire Water Grass core here going for him. With Ceruledge there, could be bulk up set, probably is. I can't imagine it not being. But here we go, Ceruledge and Primarina. I'm going to lead Indeedee Sneasler here, the Psyspam stuff, right? So I'm going to get a nice little Spadef boost here. I get walled out by the Ceruledge, but I do have an Indeedee here. He actually just lets the Primarina die for free there. So I was a little bit surprised about that. I did notice that he outsped my Indeedee there. And the only way he does that is if he Scarf himself also, and he probably just was either timid or whatnot. But I didn't realize that at the time. All right, so he is Scarfed. There's another Bitter Blade there. That's okay. Air Slash connects, no flinch, thank you. And this is where I tried to taunt. But again, I didn't realize in time that this was not a Scarf Ceruledge there. So I could have even just Rage Fisted and just won the game from there easily. But this is still okay. I have Corviknight here, right? In front of a Kilowattrel, right? But this is, again, you know, I just have to outspeed the Kilowattrel, which I do. And it's kind of funny, right? Because again, normally I wouldn't, but because of Unburdened Psychic Seeds, I do. And now we just wall out this Excadrill, right? Because now I have the space to click Bulk Up. He can't really win anymore, especially now that I have an Ape, right? We just click Close Combat, and we didn't even need the Corviknight anyway. The Annihilape was strong enough to beat the Excadrill regardless. What about a little bit more of a hyper-aggressive Sand team here, right? So not really the balance stuff, but just give me like Tailwind, give me Blood Moon, give me Hyper Voice, give me everything. Okay, so that is going to need this. So we're going to have Talonflame again, and then we still have the Indeedee, the male Indeedee, and we do have this Sneasler yet again. This is the essence of the Psyspam HO stuff with Tyranitar here. And then after this is where you add the Blood Moon. Okay, good solid ground type here, which can always pivot into the Talonflame that, again, may suffer from rock damage or electric damage. Blood Moon looks good here, especially after you can just spam Hyper Voice and Blood Moon after a Tailwind support. You know we're definitely going to go speedy on this one. And then this last one, I think Electabuzz here is usually mostly commonly used. Again, with Vital Spirit and Terra Ghost here, this is great into the Sneasler matchup. It's a fast taunt user as well. Redirection support also looks kind of good. Okay. And, you know, Buzz just gives you a little bit more balanced play, right? As far as, like, you know, these guys are concerned. You can even just lead Buzz, Talonflame, Redirect, click Tailwind, and then from there, just deal solid chip damage with Buzz or just pivot out into something else. But from here, you know, with Tyranitar, again, I'm just going for the 105 speed tier. You know, I just want to be 1 point faster than my Blood Moon here, and then just go max attack here, right? With the Life Orb. Okay, Hyper Voice, Blood Moon, Earth Power, and then just straight up Protect there. So my T-Char is faster than Ursaluna. And then Talonflame is just going to be more or less the same thing. But this time, because it's a more aggressive Talonflame, all right, what I'm going to do instead, you know, I am going to put Corviknight again. All right, and I'm going to go, how about, oh, this was also a pretty cool one. You can also technically go Tera Fairy, right? So you can just go with Dual Wing Beat yet again. You can also go Flare Blitz, all right? Still Tailwind support. And then from here, Will-O-Wisp is also straight solid here, right? You don't need Taunt here. And after that, the Indeedee, instead of, okay, we'll go Psychic Surge here. Instead of like the Scarf, you can just go Specs, right? Go for like straight offense here. Choice Specs, go for damage. That means you're going to go Timid here just to give you a little bit of balance rather than Modest. We have the damage that we need with the Specs, but let's get a little bit more speed on this. The Sneasler, again, is just still going to be unburdened. Nothing really changes with the Sneasler, so honestly, I'm just going to do a little copy pasta and then just copy paste the Sneasler there. Blood Moon is already done here. This is where, again, normal is very, very solid. And Electabuzz here with Vital Spirit and Violet is also good. With Electabuzz here, Taunt is good, and then just also Protect. One move here, you can definitely still go with E-Webs, you know, just to balance out the skill shots on the D-Knight. Speaking of that, this is also why, actually, let me go bold here. This is why you'll see some Electabuzz go 68 investment to 134. This is going to outspeed the Adamant Dragonite here. All right, so after that, 220 investment here, right, up to 180 here. This is the bump, right? Nice solid even number for the Violet. And it turns out that if you put that and 36 Spadef, you get equal investments, equal stats for both your defense and your Spadef there, right? This will also be able to live the Population Bomb Mousehold. It can also live Scale Shot shenanigans. It's very bulky. It's usually an Electabuzz spread that I most commonly use. This one here, we can go Expanding Force, right? And we can also go Trick Room if we have to use it, right? Then we can just always switch it out. Otherwise, we also have Trick Room, right? That's the whole reasoning behind it. And then Tera Blast, right? Tera Blast is also still relatively solid. You can go Tera Blast, Tera Fighting here if you have to do that. But I think with the coverage that we have here, I don't think it's necessarily needed. So single target Psychic move is still like okay. Most times you'll be tearing the T-Tar or the Blood Moon or even the Sneasel. I don't think you'll be tearing this all that much. But that is pretty much it. The Talonflame here, same idea. Again, just jolly with 1 point of EVs and everything else. So I'm just going to do that real quick. And then just throw everything else into attack. T-Tar, we've already said what our speed tier looks like. And we've already done the Electabuzz here, right? So again, this is like Sand HO, right? A little bit more of a premier idea, right? We've seen this before at the regional level. So let me show you how this works. All right, we got a balanced team going up against our HO team there. So he's got the Incineroar Amoongus, Goldengo stuff there. So good defensive backbone. Sneasel and Dragonite is his offense. He's got a Murkrow there. A little bit passive team if you ask me. Otherwise, I would just go with at least one other aggressive mon here. Maybe even Gambit might fit in something like this. But either way, I like what we've got. I think we've got more damage than him. And that's why I think we can win because we can overwhelm him. I don't think he has enough to be able to mitigate this. So I'm going to go with Electabuzz Blood Moon here, right? I just want to protect myself and just go with the Blood Moon offense, right? It goes with Instant Murkrow. That's also very passive. Fake Out comes out. That's okay. Goes for the taunt on the Buzz. So good call there because I was taunting the Murkrow too, right? But this is fine because now I can still click electric moves. Blood Moon comes out with Terra Normal here. I wouldn't just want to go for broke here. It does go for the knockoff. Removes my Life Orb, which is, again, not great, but again, Terra Normal Blood Moon still like hurts a lot. Look at all this damage, right? So Instant eats, Murkrow survives, but now look at this, right? He does go for Foul Play. He can even go for U-turn, but I outspeed the Instant, right? Because I have E-Webs, so that's good. And now he goes for U-turn, and then he pivots out into Sneasel. This is fine. And then guess who he pivots back into now? Now he goes into D9. Now he's got a Sweepers, but look, taunt ends. Follow me. I know Buzz can take this, right? There's the CC, and now Dragonite has no choice. He has to potentially click the Scale Shot, but he does. He even just goes for Rock Slide. Now it doesn't get the flinch. Hyper Voice, so much damage, right? This is what I'm saying. I can overwhelm him, right? So just protect Blood Moon here. Give me the free switch. You can kill the Buzz. It did all its job here. Now I brought Talonflame in the endgame for the potential of the Sneasel, right? And this is it. Now he has no choice but to go into Instant, but this doesn't matter, right? Because now I just go Tailwind. Now I just go Hyper Voice. The Dragonite dies anyway. He's been chipped enough. And now the Tailwind, the Fake Out doesn't matter. I just have to protect Ursaluna here. And again, that doesn't do anything because we have the Covert Cloak. And now we just do Wing Beat the Sneasel. And that's pretty much it. Now we just win because the Instant is all he has left, right? So again, I was able to deal more damage and put on more pressure. And Buzz was really good at doing what Buzz needed to do. But really, Ursaluna's damage, even without Life Orb, was just so strong. All right, so this is one of the premier Arc Rain teams here. Let me show you how you mess this guy up. So, of course, he's got Pelipper stuff. This is very important to position your Tyranitar properly. And again, we're playing the All My Friends Are Dead game. We're not going to touch the Archaludon unless we have to. We're just going to always pressure the friend slot because that is where the Arc can get out of hand. If we touch it when we don't need to, and it gets all these boosts, and then it just goes crazy here, right? So watch how we do this here. So I'm going to go with straight up Sneasel and the Indeedee. So this way I get the Unburden right away. So this way I can match Tailwind if he has to. So it's Pelipper, Basculegion. This is a very easy play, right? So I'm going to just go Terra Dark and just throw Chop this, right? He's going to expect to get the speed here. This is where Tyranitar switch looks great. All right, he thinks he goes first, not anymore. Throat Chop immediately removes it. He has no bulk, it dies. So Tailwind comes out, that's okay. All right, we broke Sash if there was a Sash. Now he goes into Arc. We don't touch this, right? And I know he wants to Terra because he doesn't want to take a fighting move here. So I'm going to go into Buzz here, right? He goes Terra Fighting, yes, protect this slot. I know he wants the Tyranitar dead, right? But just in case, I protected the Sneasel anyway, right? So now we can pressure the Sinister slot. Buzz looking good. Don't touch Arc. Keep hitting the Pelipper here. Keep hitting that slot. Okay. One more time. Throat Chop. Looks good. Okay. Could have even clicked Dire Claw there. Doesn't really matter. Like, I know, oh, he clicked protect there finally, right? So good job there. Still, we're stalling out his tailwind, right? And now his tailwind is gone. So now he has to make a choice, okay? Does he switch out? He does, okay? This is still fine, right? Hospitality, no value there, okay? Another throat chop. It does live, but again, we still pressured that slot. He does get a berry. He finally removes the Buzz. Buzz did its job at this point. He has no more tailwind. Now, this is where we bring back Indeedee. Now we sweep him because he terra'd. We baited the Tera. There's Dire Claw. Of course, a little bit of chip damage never hurt. All right, he has no wide guard on the field. He's out of position. That's it. Everything is dead. Now brings up Pelipper, but of course, doesn't even matter. He has no choice but to forfeit, right? So that's how you do it. You want to stall out that tailwind, okay? Your Buzz was really good in the back, and this is how I wanted to do it, right? I got rid of the Basculegion, right? His sweeper is gone. Pelipper can't beat Tyranitar, so I'm okay there. All you need is to beat the Archaludon, right? Which he either that or the Ape, and the Indeedee would beat either one, depending on which one would Tera. Okay, and then the Sneasel would beat the Arc if it didn't Tera anyway. So we had the tools there. All you had to make sure was just alternate your protects and get Buzz in the right spot. All right, we'll show you one more variation that looks good with Tyranitar here, and it has to do with the ability Overcloak. So we'll still go Excadrill here, the Sand mode that we saw from Joe's team here, but this will be a different Excadrill Sand team. And we'll still go with the classic Incineroar and Amoongus. You saw this from like our practice game. This is what that other player had. But let's have a little bit more offense here. Let's actually have Basculegion on this, okay? But with adaptability choice scarf here. So now we got big damage here. The other guy did not have big damage here. He had like, I think it was Murkrow. That's not enough damage here, right? Let's go with Basculegion. And then the dragon that we're going to put here is a very interesting one. I like Kommo-O here, okay? Kommo-O, okay, with Overcoat, right? You are immune to your own sand, which is nice. You're also immune to like powder moves and shenanigans. Okay, I like this. And of course, this is the throat spray set. Kommo is a little bit underrated in this format here. This is the Lorenzao sand team there. So shout outs to Lorenzao, I think he calls himself there. So shout outs to them. But yeah, this Tyranitar, we're just going to make it so that we again, remember the 52 speed tier. That's already good enough here, you know, for outspeeding stuff like the Chomp and more. All right, then after this we have the Excadrill, which again, same stuff here, right, that we had before. We're just going to copy paste this Earthquake, High Horsepower, Iron Head. I still like the Adamant set that we were running there, and that's all we really need from something like this, right? And from there, after this, the Incin set. So like with Incin, again, look, you have Intimidate and Fake Out Pressure, right? And then redirection support. That is all you need to be able to set up the combo here with the Clangorous Soul, Clanging Scale set. All right, Aura Sphere for your special fighting type damage move, which is again rare because usually these are physical. So this is going to be really strong against Incineroar, right? And then this is, we'll just go with Safety Goggles here. Again, some decent synergy with our own Tyranitar. It helps you get around Amoongus. Flare Blitz, Knockoff, Parting Shot, Fake Out, right? Something like this. And then we'll go Terra Ghost, as always. But we'll go with the support set this time. Because, you know, I want to be able to set up with the Kommo here. So I want to stay on the field a little bit. Let's just go standard, careful nature here. Good old classic instant set, right? Where you're just going 68 defense, about 44 here. So 86 here. Still good enough, you know, after Tailwind. You outspeed a Chomp, right? And more. Then the Amoongus Regenerator here. So we'll just go Citrus Berry. Same set as before. In fact, I'll just grab that one here. Again, I will have the Citrus Berry set. So I'll go to 220 rather than 219. Terra Water is great for Goldango stuff. Okay, and then the Basculegion. All right, this is where we'll go simple, right? Wave Crash, Last Respects, Flip Turn, and Tera Blast here. And I won't do anything too crazy here. I will go at least Tera Grass, just to help me get some electric and, you know, grass resist. Get around Amoongus. Just go straight up Adamant here. Okay, nothing really that you have to do with Basculegion. You've got the Scarf already. The only thing is, of course, you know, if the Dragonite's +1 already, not going to outspeed it. But, you know, Scarf already will outspeed what you need here. Now, with this Kommo-O set, I didn't really need... I was just working with something like this. I went to about 180 speed here. Okay, this is already enough where like after a +1 you outspeed a Holt, I want to say. So let me do that. 120, but yeah, no, 120. I'm sorry, that outspeeds the Sneasler. Yeah. So after a +1 clanging scale set there, I have 2 clanging scales. I'm sorry, Clanger Soul. Holy smokes, it's been a long day. All right, so after the +1 there, we'll outspeed the Sneasler there, which is all we really need at that point. We don't care about Pult all that much. This is gonna go Terra Steel. We're not scared of Dragapult. And after that, then we can just go modest 156 for a little bit more damage. 1 point in the bulk here, and that's really it. Then we just dump the rest into HP. This is okay. You know, it has decent amount of bulk. We still want like some decent offense there, so I put some special attack investment there. The second bump there. If you want to drop it and put a little bit more bulk here, you definitely can. Sometimes you'll even see Sinistcha work on teams like this, just because Sinistcha has healing with, you know, Hospitality, and then you have a you know, Ghost coverage, Ghost typing, I'm sorry, to redirect the fighting moves away from these 3 things, because these are 3 Pokemon that are weak to fighting. So Sinistcha may even be pretty good there. You also get Trick Room mode, like we said there. So if you want to put Sinistcha in this Amoongus set, I think it works relatively well. The only thing I didn't want to do was double up on the Ghost type. Ironic enough, because I double up on, you know, the fight, or tripled up on the fighting weakness here. But I like this still. You know, you still got a good solid Fire, Water, Grass core here. You got a Dragon Steel core here. No fairies, but that's okay. Flying Tera here, Ground Tera for a little bit more damage, Ghost, Water, Grass, and Steel. So some quick EVs, right? Just to try something out, just to show you how it works. But again, the win con is pretty clear, right? You can either go for Kommo-O setup or late game Basculegion adaptability stuff there, right? And kind of stall things out with Incineroar Amoongus, weaken them down, Tyranitar Excadrill dealing decent chip damage, right? Sometimes even the Excadrill can even be your late game cleaner, but as long as Kommo-O and Basculegion have the right position, you can like sweep the other team relatively easily. Okay, he's got a weird Arc Rain team here. He's got Basculegion with the key core there with Dragonite, and then he's got Garchomp and Rillaboom there. Something tells me that Rillaboom is probably Bullet Seed if he's got that on the same team here. Garchomp is an interesting choice there. Could do well in the meta, but I don't know if this is the right team for it. Kommo could sweep him, okay? Especially with the fighting coverage that we've got. And Sand looks strong against him, right, with the rest of the team here. So I think it's just all about getting the Tyranitar in the right spot and setting up the Kommo. That's the game plan here. Instant Kommo is the way. Fake out Clanging Souls was my idea there. We Intimidate Rillaboom, which is great. Did he commit the Terra Ghost? He did not, right? So that means free fake out there. And this means nothing happens, right? Turn 1. Okay, so that being said, look, okay, he goes into Arc right now. That's fine. I'm going to go Clangor Souls. I know I have the setup here. Okay, so I'm just going to go for it now. And the Rillaboom makes a smart play. He actually U-turns into his own Arc, right? So he gets a defense boost, goes into Pelipper. So this way, reduce fire damage, right? But I went for knockoff on the Arc, right? So there goes leftovers. Ooh, so it's not AV, right? So confirmed. It's probably on the... Maybe it's not even on the Rillaboom there. But anyway, Tyranitar looks good here. Goes Tera Flying. You don't normally see that. Otherwise, I was going for broke there. But, you know, helps him here. But Electro Shot was the wrong move to click here, right? Hurricane misses because Sand makes it so that the rain goes away. We probably would have lived anyway. We were +1. Now he has no choice to go into Rillaboom. Now we sweep him, right? Clanging Scales. Goodbye Arc. Okay. And now we're in prime position, right? Rock Slide, free chip damage into Rillaboom. It's almost clean. We still have Incin on our side. We didn't lose any Mons yet. He goes back into Garg. This is also fine. I can go Tera Flying Tera here if I wanted to. Okay, I just wanted to blow Rillaboom out of the water and then just kind of force the 3-on-1 eventually, right? So there he goes. He can only fake out one slot. All right. And now he just goes back into Pelipper, which is, again, still okay. I'm just going to go into Incin so I can have fake out next turn potentially. And there is Protect here. He just goes probably Hurricane here or Weather Ball. It didn't matter even if he killed the Incin. I still would have been okay. I just wanted the Sand back in my favor. So there's Fake Out. Okay, and now this is where we click Orisphere, and there he goes, right? Now, technically, Sand would have helped the Garg, but I'm +2, and I at that point, it's like, you know, still too much damage there, so he has no choice. He just forfeits. All right, last one here. So some kind of Hisuian Arcanine is also picking up in usage there. Now he's got Blood Moon and Goldango there. He's got Tailwind offense there, and Rillaboom again for, you know, terrain and fake out pressure. Again, the main thing is the Whimsicott here. Kommo-O can also sweep his entire team here. And if I have the Amoongus for a little bit of support, I can redirect things away, especially if it's like an Annihilape shenanigan there, which is his like really, really big physical source of damage. Otherwise, on the special end, I can just beat everything here with Clanging Scales and also Urshifu there. So I'm going to go Instant Kommo again. Now, I don't mind him leading the ape here, right? So even Defiant doesn't look amazing here. It's okay, right? Because I know he's greedy. So he goes Fake Out into Kommo here. I could have even Terra Ghost the Instant. I didn't think it was worth it. Right, he goes for Bulk Up. I know that's what he wants. Okay, and I just go for Blitz here, right? So this would have been fine. So I did pretty good damage into Rillaboom here. I'm just trying to put it in range. I'm going to go into Amoongus because I know that's what he wants to hit, right? U-turn comes out, goes into Ursaluna. That is okay by me. We go for the defense boost anyway. So he's more like a +1 right now rather than a +2. There's the Drain Punch. We don't touch it. Okay, we're able to tank it, right? Because we had the +1 buff there. Oris Field, goodbye Ursaluna, thanks for coming. Okay, and he goes into Drain Punch Amoongus. We can still resist that even at +2 there relatively well. So we're playing the All My Friends Are Dead game yet again. All right, I'm just going to protect here. What does he Fake Out? Good. Fake Out into the Amoongus. All right, I'm surprised he did that. I would have just, again, did my Clanging Souls again, but I guess he made some read there. But now he goes into Arcanine. Okay, this is still fine, right? Clanging Scales does a lot, doesn't pick up, unfortunately, right? And I don't have my defense boost anymore, and now Rage Fist is able to KO the Amoongus. Again, still okay, because now who do I have in the late game? I've got the Basculegion, right? So now he has no choice. Arc Terras, right? Extreme Speed, not enough. That thing is not banded. Okay, Wave Crash beats the Ape anyway, and I knew I could outspeed him. I just needed to put him in range. Clanging Scales cleans up the Arc. This is already gone now. So if he picked up the Kommo, I'm still fine anyway, because Instant Basculegion will still beat the Rillaboom and the Arcanine there, right? Because I have Intimidate on the Rillaboom and I have Water Pressure onto the Arcanine there, and I have Speed. So Grassy Glide comes out again. Still, you know, at this point it's mute. He can't win anymore, and we just kind of clean things up here with Fake Out and Clanging Scales. All right, so one more time here. So I showed you two types of competitive sand balance squads, right? So I showed you this one with Garchomp, Talonflame, Goldengo as the core, with Milotic, Amoongus, and as a defensive backbone there with competitive support from the Milotic, Icy Wind, and Haze. Then the other one uses the Kilowattrel. I put Thunderbolt there rather than Electroweb last minute there. So if you want to change that yourself, you definitely can. But same idea. Now I've got Instant Amoongus, right? So again, a little bit more defensive here, but still works the same way. So either one works. Then I showed you the Joe team, right? So we just slapped down some easy EVs there. So if you want to give that one a go, you definitely can. And then afterwards, I showed you Sand Hyper Offense, right? With NDD Sneasler stuff with Blood Moon, Talonflame there. So you could definitely use something like this. And then finally here, the one that's also like really cool, the Lorenzao Sand, okay, with the Kommo-O as the end game sweeper here, or even early game pressure. Amoongus Instant, defensive backbone, Sand mode here with Tyranitar Excadrill. Then you've got the Basculegion Choice Scarf adaptability set there. So yeah, give any of these Tyranitar Sand teams a go and let us know how you do. And if you like all this stuff, if you like all the team building, okay, make sure you sign up for coaching on the channel. A tier 3 sub gets you a one-on-one coaching session with me where we get to build a team from scratch. If you are going to Pittsburgh and you're still struggling to find a team, sign up for coaching. We can help you out. We can get you a team. And then from there, you know, we wish you luck, right? Otherwise, if you want to also work on your battling, you can also sign up for tier 4 where you still get the team building session with me. But now with tier 4, we can also analyze your replays and give you some advice. So this way you can also improve as a battler. And not just team building as well. So if you want tier 4, sign up for tier 4. Video description below, comment section has the pinned comment, so sign up. Otherwise, tier 3 is still very, very much our most popular tier with the team building. All right, so sign up on the channel, and if you want, you can also join the Discord as well. That is totally free. You don't need to pay for that, obviously. We have passed over 1,200 members before. We're working on 1,300 there. So join our VGC community there. We've got one of the biggest ones, I have to say, on via Discord. So feel free to join and find some people that you can spar with easily. But yeah, otherwise, keep using us as a resource for Regulation H. We're trying to teach as much as we can on this channel. But yeah, that's it for now, folks. We'll be back with another video in the next one. Peace out and have a good one.